Today we will be discussing 3 stories. The story of Amanda Todd, the Nth Rooms, and Nevada Chan. I think it's super important to tell these stories, to discuss these stories, and to reflect on these stories. So today that's what we're going to be doing. So the story of Amanda Todd begins when she was in 7th grade. She was from British Columbia, Canada. And for the most part, she was a very normal teenage girl. Her mom discussed that Amanda had a lot of social anxiety. So just from the get-go, I want you guys to know that she was bullied in school. She was always made fun of, and she didn't really know how to cope with that. So she was already kind of self-isolating, and she found a lot of freedom on the internet, as most of us do. And people online just are usually, not going to say nicer, but they definitely do give you a lot of their attention and time. Not always for the best reasons, and we'll get into that shortly. But yes, she was often criticized and heavily bullied in school from the beginning. Besides that, Amanda was a really good singer, so she would also make videos of her singing and then upload them to YouTube. And, along with that comes exposure to other websites, such as live streaming websites. I don't remember what the one she was streaming on was called, but it was something similar to Twitch, where, you just go live and people watch you, they communicate with you, they ask you to do things, and, you do what you do. She, however, in the beginning, she didn't have a webcam, and this was like a huge conversation. Her mom had said, she didn't believe any 7th grader needed a webcam, so she said no. Her dad said yes, and, her mom just kind of caved in and was like, all right, I guess that's okay. Just be careful, After Amanda got her webcam, she started going onto live streaming platforms, and I believe she started off singing, and then when she started getting a lot of attention and praise, she began to do other things and kind of more so exploring just being present on the live streams, not so much singing anymore. This is where everything kind of came crumbling down for Amanda. She made a split-second decision that completely changed the trajectory of her life. Someone asked her to flash the camera. This harmless thing, 2 seconds, just flash and be done with it. And, Amanda, being coerced and naive, she did it. So now this is kind of where I really want to have a conversation, because oh my god, this story is just so awful. And there are a lot of reasons why people were blaming Amanda for everything that happened. But I think what people don't realize is that, she was a kid. She was in 7th grade. She was a minor. And you can't expect these kids to be that smart, to be intelligent enough to figure these things out on their own. You're naive, okay? Even I was naive until I was 20 about a lot of things that happen online. Clearly not this naive, but unless someone is there to tell you these things happen, there's no way for you to know, okay? So I left off telling you, she flashed the camera, she did what they asked. So this is the part where I tell you, kids don't realize that the internet is forever. And even if you tell a child, the internet's forever, be careful with what you post. They hear it, but they don't truly understand it. No child can understand the complexities of the internet is forever, okay? There are so many things kids don't know about. And in this case, it was the existence of cappers. If you guys don't know what cappers are, they're basically groups of men or women, groups of people who would watch these live streams with the intention of finding girls like Amanda who make these split-second decisions, and they screenshot or screen record the live stream, whatever compromising thing that happens. They now have this image, this thing to use as blackmail. And even if it wasn't used as blackmail, it was still that nasty, I have something personal of yours, and now I'm going to share it. That's what a capper essentially is doing, and what they were. And back in 2010 is when this happened, by the way. There used to be a whole YouTube channel for cappers. It was like like a Keemstar of cappers where they would just go through all of the new girls that got victimized by this. And it's disgusting. Like, I don't know how this stuff even existed. Thankfully, it doesn't exist anymore, but it was a whole newscast like giving you the whole freaking names. And the amount of minors in this, guys, let's not forget she was a minor. This is a nude image of a minor. And this was also on you. Oh, okay. Yeah, so kids don't know what the heck cappers are. Are you kidding? Kids don't know this stuff, okay? Like, I know a few adults today who wouldn't even know this happens. Because you don't assume that people are this deranged and disgusting. You just don't, especially as a child. And of course, Amanda learned the hard way. She made a split-second decision that ended up haunting her for the rest of her life. So basically, after she flashed the camera, the cappers got a hold of her photos, and at this point, nobody really knew who did it. It was just this photo got screenshot. This photo has been saved. It's in the archives. It's been posted on porn sites. On top of that, the photo was sent not only to her classmates, but to her mother. Her mother, you guys. Ugh, so gross. This poor 7th grader, the 7th grader, okay? This little girl who didn't even know this stuff happened just made a split-second decision that has completely changed her life. So obviously, after this happened, she started getting relentlessly bullied at school, and this led to depression, anxiety, social isolation to the max. And if that wasn't enough, you guys, someone decided to blackmail her. Asked for more shows in exchange for leaving her alone. Her family decided to have her transfer schools in hopes that everything would just kind of die down eventually, people wouldn't talk about it, and she could just kind of start on a clean slate. But no, this blackmailer followed her into her new school district, you guys. He made a new Facebook account. He made a lot of Facebook accounts to harass this girl, okay? He impersonated people. There's no way for me to really tell this story in a way that it'll make sense to anyone because it doesn't make sense, okay? She went to one school. They found out it was the first school, right? So she had to transfer to a new school. And then the blackmailer was like, nah, you didn't give me my shows, so I'm going to blackmail you again. You didn't do what I wanted, so now I'm going to expose you to this new school. So he made a Facebook account and pretended to be someone going to her new school, wanting new friends, like getting to know people, you know, and she, being a naive 7th grader, accepted his friend request. Over time, as this fake account got to know her and then her friends and just kind of branching out and making new friends, you know, on Facebook you add people and they become your friends and they can see your posts and stuff. He basically did that with her entire school, or at least the people he was able to get in contact with, and then changed his profile picture to the topless Amanda photo. And on top of that, he sent it out as well. And then his account became a public forum to harass and make fun of Amanda. It's so sad. It's so sad. And I would also like to add, I forgot to tell you, but they brought this to the attention of the authorities every time they moved schools because it was like a new thing that happened each time. But back in 2010, the police didn't know how to handle these kinds of cases. They didn't know how the internet worked. Parents didn't even know how like dangerous the internet was at this point. No one was really trying to protect their children because they didn't know this stuff really happened. So besides this, at her new school, she was bullied again relentlessly because of the topless photo. And then she got into, I don't even want to discuss this really because I feel like it's high school stuff that it doesn't matter. And I know there are a lot of different topics that people will attack Amanda for, but essentially what they'll say is Amanda like slept with a taken guy, like he was in a relationship, she should have known better. But honestly, that's like a whole bunch of just garbage to me because anything that happens in high school to me, especially in junior high,
Like, get over it, you guys. Like, kids are kids. I'm gonna criticize everyone in that situation because they're all children who need to learn, right? So it would be more of like a giving them constructive criticism as children, but that's not my place. That's like that's their parents' place. I don't know. I don't like even discussing this part because I feel like it's so irrelevant to the story. All you really need to know is, Amanda was being bullied again. Like, you cannot justify hurting another human being to this extent. You can't justify it, okay? Leave her alone. But yeah, no, she was harassed and bullied because of things that happened in school, like classic drama. And then she was also being bullied because of this topless photo and being slut shamed relentlessly. It was a ruthless environment back in 2010, okay? Clearly, she was going through a lot. After the whole thing that happened at school, she just felt super overwhelmed and she went home and she tried to drink some bleach. Fortunately, her dad caught her in time and got her to a hospital and she was safe and okay. And then after that, she was moved to go and live with her mom, whom she was on good terms with, by the way. Her mom was super supportive of her. She was engaging in substance abuse, self-harm. She was going through a lot. And she really was struggling at this point in her life. She was really struggling. This guy was still blackmailing her, still. It was awful. This guy was really like, I'm going to send this to everyone who knows you. If you ever have a boyfriend, he'll get it. He'll know all about you. All of your new friends, don't even try to make them because I am crazy and will find them. And there is a video that she posted that was actually, it's really popular now, but at the time it wasn't really. People keep mistaking this video that she made as like her goodbye video, but it wasn't. It was more of a therapeutic release. And I'll have a link to that below if you want to watch it. So after she made that video, it actually was a really nice thing for her because people were actually responding really, really well to it and sending her super supportive and kind messages, and that was something that Amanda had never really received. Aside from people in her family, no one ever really cared about her or told her, it's gonna be okay, you'll get through it. No one other than her family. So for her to read that from a whole bunch of people that saw her video, it made her feel really good about herself, and it made her feel like, she can stay strong and persevere and she'll get through it. Unfortunately, the happiness didn't last long and this story does not end well. It's not a happy story. And she ended up taking her life October 10th of 2012. And ironically enough, the police finally cared because of that video, garnering even more attention after she passed. It was a whole different story. There were 20 officers on her case because the public demanded answers, because they demanded change. Amanda's passing completely changed the trajectory of the entire world and how they would approach cyberbullying, stalking, blackmail, extortion, everything. It just completely changed because of Amanda and her video and her story. I remember in high school, we had a whole assembly about this. And I know our school wasn't the only school. It was schools all around the country finally had something to talk about, to raise awareness with. So even though Amanda lost her life in this process, her life still had a huge significance and meaning for so much, you guys. So this story is really important to just acknowledge and to be aware of, to learn from. And to just appreciate Amanda's existence, okay? Let's just take a moment and appreciate Amanda, please, because she deserves the freaking world. And just really quickly, I do want to give you guys kind of a conclusion for what happened with her case. After Amanda's passing, no one was really brought to justice in the beginning. It took a decade for them to find who did this to Amanda, the person who's been blackmailing her. It ended up being one person by the name of Aiden Coben. He was a Dutch man, so he was already on the radar of the police. It was just in a whole different country. He was extorting 34 girls, and the youngest girl he did this to was 11 years old. He would also do this to adult men by pretending to be a younger boy
and then he would extort them in the way of, hey, if you don't give me this much money, I'm gonna expose your little hobby to all your friends and family, and he'd make money that way. When they found him, there's like photos I'll share. This is where they found him. And they were able to put spyware on his computer, and they found so much stuff, you guys. They traced him down and they installed spyware on his laptop, and they found 204,000 CP content and 5,000 names of future victims. So with that, he was caught on the charges of extortion, internet luring, criminal harassment, possession and distribution of CP, and in total he had 72 offenses. That's crazy, you guys. I am so happy though, because he got brought to justice this year, you guys. He had, I don't want to butcher the countries. I just know this happened overseas. There's some things that happened in New Zealand and Europe. In June or July of 2020, they finally got him for Amanda Todd. And he's going to be gone. He's going to be put away for a very, very long time. So he had to serve his time in Europe, and then he was extradited to America this year, and he's finally going away. So that was a huge reason as to why I also wanted to talk about this. It's super recent, and it's finally justice has been served for something that's been long overdue. I'm so happy. Now I just want to discuss what we've learned from this whole situation, what we can as human beings, as individuals, take away from it. And honestly, there isn't much, because a lot of this, the fault lies on Aiden as the perpetrator, as the bad guy, as the disgusting CP collector that he is. What I feel is important to take away from this is, one, the internet is forever, and if you have children, please, to the best of your ability, try to explain what that means. Even if they can't comprehend it, as long as they acknowledge that there are consequences to your actions, I think they'll be a lot better off. Do I think had Amanda known this information, she would have made a different decision? I don't know, because a lot of things go into making that sort of decision. A lot of things. It's a very complicated. Humans are complicated beings, okay? So I'm just saying, you gotta get your children equipped with the knowledge that they need before they have to make those decisions. Okay, and then 2, people don't care about you on the internet. Some people might, but those people are few and far between. Just because someone says you're pretty doesn't mean they care about you. Chances are they just like your appearance. You know what I mean? Just the basic people aren't honest type of conversation. I think that needs to be had as well. Do I think it's going to help much? No, not really. But again, it's the whole knowledge is power, but also knowledge is liability. So you need to do something. You can't just sit back and blame the perpetrator without doing anything actively to try and prevent it in the future. Don't trust strangers so easily, and that kind of leads into my third point of self-worth and value. I think a lot of kids that fall into this naivety, who fall into those really bad decisions, are kids who unfortunately have very low senses of self-worth and value. If you already don't like yourself, I am aware that it's not easy to change or to fix, but I think we do need to be aware that some people do feel this way, and that's why a simple compliment can completely change someone's day. There were people in my class who were friends with people who treated them like trash. They actively bullied them to their face behind their back, and these people stood there and they took it because they knew if they didn't, they wouldn't have any friends. And that's so tragic and so sad, but I know people like that exist. And it's people like that that get taken advantage of. So I used to say all the time, knowledge is power, but I'm a firm believer now that knowledge is liability. You don't need to be doing this for a large mass of people, but literally just your sister, your daughter, your cousin, your friend. Just have the conversation, talk about it. And maybe that might help somebody. This video ended up being a lot longer than I had anticipated, so I'm going to be posting this as part of a 3-part series.
This will be part 1. Part 2 will be the nth room. Part 3 will be Nevada Chen. So the nth room will be the one that connects the most with the Amanda Todd story, and Nevada Chan will just be like a separate entity. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up so I know you enjoyed it. People don't really like my videos, so I don't know if people are enjoying them. I tried something a little bit different today, and I hope you guys liked it. I know I enjoyed talking about it, expressing my thoughts and opinions on it. I don't want to become like a true crime channel or anything. I would rather talk about topics that I think are important. So this was one of them. These are things that I've genuinely had like an interest in, that I've looked into, that I've thought about in depth. So I hope you liked this video. Please like and subscribe. It would help out my channel a lot. And see you next week when I post about nth rooms. If you thought Amanda Todd's story was bad, the nth rooms go so much deeper. See you next week, you guys. Bye. Also, go follow my Instagram. It's ohmygodcringe with an underscore. Bye.